Have House Republicans really learned their lesson? You know what I say? After a year that saw every single House Republican vote against that phony stimulus bill, every single House Republican vote against their budget-busting budget, and every single House Republican vote against their government takeover of health care, I'm here to say House Republicans are back in the fight, and they're back in the fight for conservative values on Capitol Hill.
Some powerful words from the rising conservative star out of Indiana, Congressman Mike Pence, at the Values Voters Conference in Washington. In that organization's straw poll, the Indiana Republican came out #1. He was the winner. Congressman Pence is the chairman of the House Republican Conference, live today in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where he is doing some campaigning today. And thank you for your time here. Why did you win that poll, do you think?
Bill.
What was your message there that appealed so well?
Well, first, just let me say to the folks of the Values Voters Summit how humbled and grateful my wife and I were for the vote of affirmation. But candidly, I think it was less about the messenger and more about the message. What we said to folks there is what we're saying here in Michigan today, and that is that we need to get our national government, starting with the Congress this fall, back to the common sense and common values of the American people without apology. And, you know, we really do believe that people are tired of the runaway federal spending, the borrowing, the bailouts, and the takeovers. But they also want to see us get back to a respect for the sanctity of life, the sanctity of marriage. And I think more than anything else, that message resonated, and I think that's what people affirmed on the weekend.
We don't hear a lot about it. I mean, you go back 2.5 years, and the social values issues are not something that is making headlines. What's making headlines is the economy and jobs. That's what the polling shows us people are after.
Well, Bill, I think there's a good reason for that, and that's because the economic policies of this administration have failed. We're pushing the third year in a row of more than $1 trillion deficit, and the American people are focused where they ought to be focused. They're looking for men and women across this country in these congressional elections that are willing to go to Washington, D.C., put our fiscal house in order, and get this economy moving again. And while, you know, we were humbled and encouraged by the events of this last weekend, my focus is completely on November the 2nd, and it's where I think Americans that are concerned about the course and direction of our national government ought to be focused.
Let me show our viewers how the polling ended up. You were #1. Followed by Mike Huckabee, #2. Mitt Romney was 3rd. Newt Gingrich was 4th. And Sarah Palin was 5th at only 7%. Now, Bill Clinton made a comment over the weekend, and he talked about the Tea Party movement, talked about it as a general revolt against bigness. It is so simple. It's probably dead on as well. But you're also seeing these inter-party battles, whether it's some on the right going after Christine O'Donnell in Delaware, whether or not it's Lisa Murkowski jumping back in that Senate battle in Alaska against Joe Miller. From this chaos, what sort of clarity do you expect to emerge?
Well, I think there's a great deal of clarity emerging. Senator Murkowski's decision to run as a third-party candidate kind of reminds me of the play last night in the Colts game where the player for the Giants threw his helmet into the stands. It didn't affect the outcome of the game. I don't think her candidacy is going to affect the outcome in Alaska. I think Joe Miller will be elected. Look, the American people are coming together, whether it's in Florida with Marco Rubio, whether it's in Nevada around Sharon Angle, Joe Miller, others in Delaware with Christine O'Donnell. I really think the American people are coming together around men and women of courage, who are committed to put our fiscal house in order and get this economy moving again on the basis of time-honored values. But among those values are a respect for the traditional values that have made this country great, that make communities work, like Grand Rapids, Michigan, Indianapolis, Indiana. And I really, Bill, I'll tell you, in response to your other question, I don't see at the Tea Parties that I've attended, the town hall meetings I've attended, I don't see a separation. I mean, what I see is everyday Americans who embrace the things that make this country great, which is our commitment to limited government and our respect for traditional values and a strong defense, all coming together. And those are the folks that I think are going to win the day on November 2nd.
40-plus days in counting. Mike Pence, thank you for your time today. I mentioned Grand Rapids.